This is Max Williams with United Real Estate, and today I'm in Eastern Henrico. Today is closing day, and we absolutely love closing day, especially when transactions go smoothly and close quickly for top dollar. I wanted to give you a little insight about how this transaction occurred because it's important if you are buying to understand the transaction from the selling standpoint as well. For those of you that are sports enthusiasts, you know that the best defenders are the ones that understand offense. If we were to use a food and beverage analogy, the best winemakers in the world have discerning palates, and they can tell the difference between the best Boone's Farm has to offer and a fine French Bordeaux. So when we sat down and we looked at the pricing on this home, I shared with my seller, it is crucial to price a home to sell. I will hear sometimes from sellers and they will say that, oh, I want to pay off this bill and I want to pay off that bill, and then I want to have a little bit of money for vacation, so that means I need to sell the house for X number of dollars in order to do that. And while I understand the thought process, that's a very bad way to approach pricing a home, and this is the reason why. Homes sell for what the market will bear. They won't sell for any more. They will sell for what the market feels a home is worth. And we ascertain that number by looking at comparable sales that have happened nearby in that area that are comparable to the house that we are discussing. If you price it above that, then what's going to happen is ultimately people will see that online, and there's plenty of tools for even consumers to tell if a house is overpriced, and they will simply bypass the house and look at something that is appropriately priced. If we move forward in time, the house sits and sits and sits on the market, and then ultimately the seller decides, well, we haven't gotten any activity, let's reduce the price. At that point, you're pretty much considered like damaged goods. No one's paying attention to the listing because it's not new and it's overpriced. So the approach that should be taken in a case like that is to price the house right where it needs to be. My opinion is priced at a little bit below where it should be, and that does a couple of things. On this house, that's exactly what we did. We priced it a little bit below what we thought we'd end up getting. As a result, as I predicted, we had multiple offers. Now, as soon as we get that first offer, I'm telling the agent, hey, we've got multiple offers. You need to come strong. You need to give us best price and best terms if your buyer wants to get this house. And that's exactly what happened. We ultimately sold this house for more money than we were asking, and on top of that, the seller did not have to do one repair. And that's huge because in many of these homes today, even if the seller thinks they're in good condition, they will have a number of things that come up on the home inspection. Remember, the home inspector is looking in the crawl space, they're looking in the attic, they are looking all over places that the seller, in many cases, had never even seen. So unexpected things come up in just about every inspection, and that ends up costing the seller money, particularly if there are not multiple offers. We were able to sell without doing any repairs for top dollar. Number two thing that is important is we want to make sure the seller's protected. And that goes back to not having a home inspection. That means they won't have to pay for repairs. So they always want to make sure they're protected in the process. And number three is sellers want an easy process. And one of the ways I address that is every home gets a full walkthrough video, and buyers can see that before they ever book an appointment. If you've ever sold a home, you know it's a real hassle to every time somebody wants to see it, to make sure it's spotless, to pack up, to go out, have a bite to eat, do whatever you need to do, and then come back an hour later. Doing that time after time after time and not getting an offer is not a lot of fun. By putting the house up there on video, now somebody can look at it ahead of time. They can determine if the floor plan is right for them. During that video, I'm describing not only the property, things that might not be visible, but also things about the neighborhood. How close is it to the closest mall or the closest good restaurant? All of those things you can't convey in just normal photographs. So we're selling the home before they even have a chance to take a look at it. And then lastly, I give my sellers a guarantee. That guarantee is if we don't get 1,500 views on a YouTube video in the first week, then I basically work for free. I don't know anybody else that has that type of guarantee, because getting a home out there, getting that visibility is what sells homes. And that's what I do very well. If you have any questions about the selling process or you're looking for a home, be sure to give me a call. It would be my pleasure to help you. If you have any questions about the process of buying or selling, I'm also available for you as well. Thanks so much for your time. I appreciate you. Have a great day.